On August 15, 1945, the Emperor of Japan announced a news that made 10,000 Chinese people cry. Japan surrendered unconditionally. But at that time, Japan still had 2 million well-equipped Kwantung Army in the northeast. And they also claimed that they had 7 million backup troops. Why did they suddenly surrender? Not only we have this question, even many Japanese officers can't accept this fact. They began to cut down and resist. There were even more main battle groups rushing into the palace, taking guns and forcing the emperor to change his mind. And the sudden surrender of Japan was not a temporary uprising of the Emperor of Japan, but they had already reached the point of going into the light. On August 6, 1945, the little boy exploded in Guangzhou. The white light instantly devoured 80,000 lives. The whole city was turned into the ground in an instant. At first, the Japanese government was stubborn. They lied to the people that it was a meteorite fall. But 3 days later, the fat man picked up the mushroom silver again for a long time. In the face of such a weapon that can instantly wipe out a city, the Japanese high-ranking officials were completely panicked. Who knows if it will hit Tokyo at the next moment? If it continues to fight, I'm afraid even Japan will disappear from the map. And then the sudden turn of the Soviet Union made Japan completely desperate. Japan was still hoping that it could protect itself from the treaty signed by the Soviet Union. Even if one day I can't do it, I can move the emperor to the northeast and rely on the Kwantung Army to resist. But on August 9, 1945, the Soviet Union suddenly tore up the treaty. 1.57 million iron currents rushed to the northeast. Although the Kwantung Army is said to be the elite of Japan, it has long been sucked into the Pacific battlefield. In the face of the Soviet Union, which had just crushed Nazi Germany, the 700,000 Japanese troops had no way to defend themselves. At this point, Japan's retreat was completely cut off. At this time, the situation in Japan was also very serious. The American bomber destroyed the Japanese industry directly. 85% of the oil refineries were destroyed, and 75% of the aircraft and engines were destroyed. The productivity of the entire country collapsed to only 10%. The common people were willing to give up, and the soldiers were willing to join the giant. On the other hand, China's battlefield is like a mold. In the 14th year, the Japanese army lost 1.5 million troops and accounted for 70% of the total casualties in World War II. In Japan, even 15-year-old boys and 40-year-old women are being pulled to serve as national volunteers. So it's a matter of time before Japan surrenders unconditionally. Today is the 80th anniversary of Japan's surrender. Let's offer a few more flowers to those ancestors who protected their homes and fought for their country.